Now, let me address the land issue. So, President Ali, as I said before, dealt extensively with this matter, and Anil Nandalal. And they will, especially Anil, will continue to release, we've asked him to continue to release all the details, because sometimes it's too burdensome to give you all the details of the criminality of the PNC and AFC as they relate to land issues. So this matter arose to prominence when Nigel Hughes, a few weeks ago, released elements of a contract between CHMP and Ed Ahmad and questioned the price of the transaction. So let me address this, and then I'll come back and talk about Ed Ahmad, the sheriff group, and everything else. So first of all, Nigel Hughes released a contract, so I don't think he will have any problem if I were to give you today some public documents. So he went subsequently on Rickford Bird program 2 days ago, and you know, I've said that already, that if you have to go on a criminal's talk show, and Rickford Burke is a criminal, and I think he's desperate, but Trump doesn't like criminals too much. So I think he's desperate now, trying to reorient his lifestyle over there. But Nigel Hughes, getting no traction elsewhere, tries to get some level of publicity if you go to his program from the Lunatic Fringe. So Nigel Hughes says a couple days ago on that program that we must pause all sale of land or anything, for example, because this is election year. This is Nigel Hughes. So on the face of it, it sounds reasonable. I have here 3 documents I'm going to share with you. One, Nigel Hughes on the 24th of October 2019 got 25 acres of leased land, prime lands. Now, you recall the date, 24th October 2019 was after the no confidence had passed, after the CCJ had ruled in June that the no confidence is valid, and said that the government must be in a caretaker mode. We're not in a caretaker mode. We're a government vested with full powers until the elections. And he wants us to pause on transactions, any transaction this year, because it's election year. They had lost the government had fallen, the CCJ had already ruled. The CCJ ordered that we go into a caretaker mode. You should see what the definition of a caretaker mode means. You can't conclude these transactions. But Nigel Hughes, after that, long after the CCJ ruling, months after it, secured land. They were giving land to him. He secured 25 acres there. So the elections came, and APNU lost the elections. And then on the 19th of March, after the elections, Nigel Hughes got another 25 acres of land, contiguous to the other one, and I'll share this with you too. And then, again on the 19th of March, he got another 25 acres of land. So 75 acres of land in the period 25 before the elections, but after the CCJ had ruled that we go into a caretaker mode, and 50 acres after the elections. I will share this with you because they have a strange way, the newspapers here, a strange way of representing things. There's a wild accusation against Susan Rodriguez, but already she's questioned as though she's a criminal. Every time we submit, we have in the public domain tons of documents about the criminality of some people or their transgressions, or in this case, the duplicity, like with Nigel Hughes. They never make the newspapers. They don't get published, they don't get broadcast. So I'm giving you here, so I hope that these could go on your social media pages and everywhere else to show this. Now just imagine 2 days ago he said we must pause. A legitimate government, not a government in caretaker mode, must pause on giving out lands. And he secured for himself the 75 acres of land after the CCJ had ruled and after the elections. I'm going to share this with you. Now, this is through Lands and Survey. Now, I'm not going to share this long list of PNC individuals who got land, many after the elections and in the period after the government had fallen. It's a long list of who's who in the PNC. And it represents tens of thousands of acres of land, if you look at this long list here. But I don't want, since those people are not, we didn't take back their land, but those people are not in the public. I'm just going to share the document on Nigel Hughes because he shared a document from CHNPA a couple days ago and questioned the price, and we'll come to that in a moment. But I just wanted to talk about his duplicity here, what he said a couple nights ago. So you're going to have these when I'm done. 75 acres of land. So in relation to the land at Ogle, I will deal with the Nigel Hughes component first, and then come on to, and then tell you what else happened there. So in the period after the elections, just before the elections, after the no confidence motion, Nigel Hughes was representing a Trinidadian company. The Trinidadian company, through NISIL, Nigel Hughes was central to those negotiations, secured at Ogle 20 acres of land at $26 million per acre. Now you recall, the very same Nigel Hughes circulated a document from CHNPA and said that the $30 million for the Ed Ahmad deal that they had, or the Ed Ahmad agreement, was too low. We're giving away the land there at too low a price. It's a ripoff. But he, just before the elections, acting as the lawyer for the Trinidadian company, managed to secure through NISIL 20 acres, and this was the prime land, just next to the Exxon building. Prime land there, 20 acres at $26 million per acre. But he now says it's too low, this agreement. So that's one. That again represents the duplicity of Nigel Hughes. In addition to that, the same Trinidadian company got 10 acres of land, prime land at Earl's Court. And they represented that they were going to build in 4 years there a 72-story apartment building, a 72 apartment building, luxury building, in exchange for the low price that they got of $10 million per acre. This land was vested in them just before the elections, I think January or somewhere around that of 2020. I can give you dates later. Just before the election. 10 acres of land outside of the 20th Ogle at Earl's Court, not at 10, but this time at 10 acres per land, per 10 acres, 10 million per acre. So what happened? Nigel Hughes was not just the lawyer for the company. The company that signed the agreement, he was an officer of the company. He became a director on that company, and he then became company secretary to the company that secured the land at 10 million per acre. So he, as an officer of the company, represented that they will build this luxury apartment building at Earl's Court within 4 years. They were vested the land, they had the land. Nothing has been built as yet, and there are penalties under that agreement. So this is Nigel Hughes now. I'm just talking about Nigel Hughes. You notice in everything that is controversial, he has his hands in it. He lies prolifically about the 1,200 young black person that we disappeared. Now he backtracks from it. But he was the one who removed the tape from the Hamilton gas station. So we didn't know who killed, we don't know who killed Hamilton. He was the one who represented the killers of the children and others at Lusignan in the massacre, expresses sympathy for them, but then now recently for the victims, but then was also the judge ordered that they be an investigation into jury tampering because he was involved in, again there. I can go down a long list of issues, almost everything. So now again, imagine this man, Nigel Hughes, releasing somebody's agreement and saying the 30 million per acre that they paid there is too low. And he negotiated in an area even more prime than the area that they were allocated at 26 million per acre. Same area. And then got another piece of land just next door to that area for 10 million per acre with a promise of building an apartment building. And he was not just the lawyer for the company. So when he says, oh, I don't speak about my client, I saw him giving the Demerara Waves article. He doesn't speak about his client's business. Well, he was an officer of the company. He was the director as well as the company secretary. So he is responsible for the statements that they made at that time. the representations they made to NISL. How more disgusting can you get? How more disgusting can you get?